Welcome to another edition of 30 Minutes with the Manager. Joining me today is our outstanding Recreation Department, so welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about what programs we've got coming up this fall here, and maybe just give me a brief recap of the outstanding summer.
Sure. I'll go ahead and I'll start. We definitely had an outstanding summer once again here with the Radnor Day Camp program, which took place at Radnor Elementary. We have a number of folks on staff that have returned from a considerable amount of years, so we have a very well tenured staff, something we're very proud of. The children had an outstanding time this summer. They did a lot of new things. They went on a few different trips that they haven't taken before and engaged in a lot of different activities. We also had a number of one-week specialty camps this summer that were very, very popular. For instance, we had a new sports camp that took place at Radnor Activity Center. And then, of course, many of our traditional camps like the Harry Potter camp, the theater camps, things like that were very popular, that were very well attended throughout the summer and took place through some different facilities throughout the township. I know we worked with Sacred Heart this year. We also worked over at Christ Church of Ithan this year off of Conestoga Road, so we've been able to branch out and make some new relationships and start some new partnerships in some new locations, which has been great. And of course, continuing on with a lot of our routine vendors that we've worked with for a variety of years. We've stabilized the day camp, but I think in some of our other programs we've seen some growth, which has been positive. Something we want to continue to capitalize on, for summers to come. We also had some great events that occurred this summer, so I'm going to kick the ball over to Heather and let her talk about those for a little bit.
Sure. So, of course, we had a summer concert this year, and we were back at Beauconnor. We had Chico's Vibe come back again just because they have such a great following, and I think people in the community really enjoy being part of that concert. So that was another really successful concert for us. Lots of people in attendance, probably close to 500 or 600, I'd say. And the band did a great job really getting everyone excited and involved, and it was a really great location. Beauconnor Park was really perfect for that. So many people in the surrounding neighborhoods were able to walk over and enjoy it from almost their backyards. We also worked with a member of the community for a new event. We kind of helped just to support him as much as we could, but he started an event here over at Enke Park to raise funds for the Special Olympics. So it was a wiffle ball tournament, and we had about 100 participants, and then in addition to that, families and friends were coming as spectators. So there was quite a few people over in the park, and we played ourselves, actually. Mm-hmm. We had a great team. So that was a great new program that I think he has every intention of bringing back next summer, and hopefully building it up into something that more people in the community can get involved in.
And all that benefited Special Olympics, correct?
Yeah, 100% of it went back to the Special Olympics, which was really great. Right. Yeah. So those were our summer events.
Yeah, we also had the Great American Backyard Campout too, which is another one that's been
Campout?
happening for a number of years. Well, summer's a little far out of our minds right now because we're so busy planning for fall and actually, well, more so winter right now and even spring looking ahead. But the Great American Backyard Campout was another really great success. It's a partnership that we deliver with the Radnor Boy Scouts. It gives folks in the community an opportunity to actually come and camp out at the Willows, which is really exciting because it's so far off the main line and you can actually hear nature versus some of the other locations throughout Radnor Township and some of the parks. So that was also a huge success. And then a large part of our summer was gearing up for the big opening that we had, the reopening at Clemacrone Park. So we had the grand opening at that new and improved park over off of Conestoga Road on September 9th, and it was another huge success. We want to encourage folks to get out and see the park. There's a lot of really great features, and I think what we consider probably one of the greatest playgrounds on the main line. Not to mention all the rest of the really great features that park has to offer.
And I think too one of the things I know you don't mention, but it's also very popular, is you have all the trails throughout the township and in all the parks, all the playgrounds, all the picnic areas that people have, the dog park. I mean, so many activities that are available to the residents here that I know they take full advantage of. When you go by the parking lots and you see them full, you see the residents out there in the parks utilizing them. I mean, they're so involved, and then when you see all the programs in the brochure that you have, which I know your new brochure is out on the website, so anybody, if you want to see what's available, just go to the website. You can see what's going on. There's so many activities and programs that you can get involved with, and I know the fall you've got some things coming up here that are pretty exciting too.
We do. Our biggest event of the fall, of course, will be the Fall Harvest and Great Pumpkin Patch event, which will take place at the Willows Park on Sunday, October 1st, and that event runs from 1 to 4 p.m. It's overall a free event. You don't have to pay to get in. You can just come to the park, and there are free pumpkins, so you can actually ride on the back of one of our tractors with our awesome Public Works crew. They'll take you over to Skunk Hollow, so you can go and pick out a free pumpkin. And there's a wide variety of other activities going on too. So we'll have a lot of different vendors that'll be in attendance from the community. We'll have pony rides. We'll have cider available for folks. We have some different vendors that'll be there. They'll actually be, providing some food and selling some food too. A lot of great businesses in the community join us, and along with a lot of great organizations. Right now we're planning to have an event as part of that, which will be the hay scramble. Initially I think we were planning the helicopter piñata, but that might be something that might not be coming to fruition. But either way, there'll be an exciting event as part of that at 3 o'clock. So make sure all the kids come out, because there'll be lots of goodies for them to get as part of that. So we, definitely one of our banner events. I want to say we're in our 6th year this year, so we're definitely getting excited for that, because it'll be here in another week. We also have, shifting back over to Clemmer-Crone, we have a exciting recognition that's going to take place over there of Jan Berenstein. Jan actually grew up in Rosemont, and the Radnor Historical Society worked on her behalf to create and put together a recognition plaque, in which is right now currently in the park, but it's covered, so we're going to have an unveiling at 11 o'clock a.m. on Saturday, October 7th, to recognize her. Of course, she was a literary genius, some might think, in children's novels, by creating, along with her husband, the Berenstein Bears. And I understand Brother and Sister Bear are also going to make an appearance, and our Radnor Police Department and Radnor Memorial Library are going to be there to do some book readings with the kids. So even though it's a ceremonial event to honor Jan, it's also going to be a kids event too. So bring the kids out, enjoy the Berenstein Bears, and of course they'll be right there handy to the new playground. So there'll be lots of fun as part of that event. We have, I'll let Heather talk a little bit about, we have a new campfire sing-along that's coming up, a partnership with the Girl Scouts and Santa's Delivery. So I'll let Heather talk about those a little bit.
So we're working with the Girl Scouts for another fun fall event, and they're going to be setting up a campfire sing-along over at the Willows Park, and that'll be on Saturday, October 14th. And so it's open to the public, and it's free, but we ask that if you're coming, it'd be great if you could pre-register online. Registration's free, and it's really just a time for us to enjoy the outdoors, have a nice little campfire that the Girl Scouts are going to be building. There's going to be s'mores, so everyone can cook their own s'mores over the fire, and just enjoy the outdoors and a nice fall evening with the Girl Scouts. And we're hoping to continue building up our relationship with the Girl Scouts so they can be part of more of our events, and hopefully continue this event in the future. Another new event that we're having this fall is actually brand new. It's a mother-daughter tea party, princess tea party. And that event, it's actually already sold out. So unfortunately, we don't have any space available, but we are taking people on a wait list. And it's great to even get on the wait list so that in the future, when we bring this event back, hopefully, you'll be on the list so you can be notified of when we're going to be hopefully doing this program again. That'll be at the Saturday Club on Sunday, November 12th?
Yes.
Okay, I know originally it was Saturday, so Sunday, November 12th. And it's from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And we're going to have some princesses come, do a little show. We're going to have caricaturists there. There's going to be tea provided by A Taste of Britain, which is a really great little shop here in Wayne. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's really cute, though, and they're going to be providing tea and snacks in a really nice environment for us. So we're really excited to see how that goes and get that up and running off the ground.
Great. And then I understand Santa will make his return to Radnor again.
Yep, Santa will be returning. We're definitely starting to prepare for that event as well. We anticipate lots of children will be able to participate. We'll have our gift drop-off date, which is the same weekend. It's always right after Thanksgiving. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving is when parents can pre-register for this so that Santa knows who to drop off gifts to. And that's going to be here at the Township building, and that's November 26th. 25th is Saturday. So come here, register so Santa knows who to bring the gifts to.
Okay.
And then he's going to be delivering them on a fire truck, of course, throughout town on December 9th. And it's going to be another really great event. We have so many people that come out and help us with that. All of Santa's helpers are really great. So many of the local fire departments really pitch in a lot of time and effort, along with a lot of the township staff. And we're really excited to see how that event continues to grow each year. So to be another fun, festive time.
Well, that's one of the things that I think I hear from you is there's a common thread that runs through this between partnerships, between community, that you kind of weave that through, that really it's about community, it's about partnerships, that what you really push to, and what you really strive to gain is that involvement, community, and really working together.
We do. It's important to be successful. I mean, we have so many wonderful community groups that are here, and businesses and organizations in town in Radnor. Radnor's really blessed to have so much, you know, within a very small space. There's a lot of folks that are looking to be successful and get their name out just like we are. And in working together, we're able to do that and be able to create those positive, I call them traditions, because there's so many that we've been doing over the years that, as you see with many of these events, you know, they're some of them that just got started in the last, 10 years or, working on major milestones, and being around for so long. One other one I just wanted to point out was we're actually headed into our 40th year for the Radnor Run. So the Radnor Run started here 40 years ago, right here at the Township, way before any of us were ever here. And it's a 5-mile scenic course that goes throughout many of the roads here in Radnor, back around towards the scenic areas of the Township, like the Willows. And every year it is very successful. It's a early morning run. It starts at about 8:30 a.m. and then we have a 1-mile fun run and walk. That's part of it. I know you've participated in that in the past, Bob, and we'll look forward to seeing you again there this year. But it's an exciting year for us, of course, being 40 years, and that event obviously benefits the American Lung Association. So there is online registration that's currently open and going for that, so we're really excited. But as you say, these partnerships are really important to us, and working together. We try not to make decisions in a vacuum. We try to include others, and I think that's really helped us be successful.
And a big part, I know that you work hard for sponsorships so that you're not using taxpayers' dollars for a lot of these programs.
Absolutely, and that's important. And the sponsorships are also the partnerships as well, because the many of those that are providing funds to be able to support a lot of our events are local businesses, local organizations that are here in town that help us fund, and in many cases cover all of the costs of the programs that we're delivering and the events, of course, that are very popular. So it's kind of part of the mission, and how we deliver those.
Good. Well, again, thank you for joining me. Look forward to talking to you again early next year and talking about all these great programs that we just went through, because I'm sure it's going to go very quickly here.
It will.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks
so
again.
much.
I'm back now with members of our police department, so I want to thank Deputy Superintendent Andy Block and Lieutenant Shawn Dietrich joining me now. Guys, maybe if you could talk about some of the things going on in the department right now.
An exciting time, as it always is with the police department. We're entering into the fall, sir. As you know, it becomes the busiest time of the year for the police department, essentially from the end of August right through the holidays up until January 1st. So we have a number of different activities that are going on. I think some of the highlights we have that we'd like to talk about and promote is we've just hired 2 new officers, one being Kyle Hand. Kyle is very well known to us, where he has worked here for the past 5 years in our meter enforcement division. So he worked part-time, put himself through the police academy, and was working part-time with another police department. We were fortunate enough to hire him on September 11th, along with Ryan Collins. She will be our 4th female working with the police department. So with both of those officers on board now, they are now entering the FTO program. So they have about 3 weeks of in-house training where they're going through their firearms training, their use of force training, policy, procedure, They're being issued their uniforms and whatnot, and then they will be assigned to field training officers in the field for another 12 weeks. So if everything goes according to plan, which we have every reason to believe that they'll successfully complete the FTO program, then they'll get their line assignment within a platoon and ride by themselves. So it's an exciting time for that. We're also making headway, and I'll turn it over to my colleague, Lieutenant Dietrich, on our accreditation process as well.
Thank you. Well, we are moving full steam ahead on the accreditation. All the policies are done. We're basically turning everything over for legal review. That's almost done. We have about 4 policies left. After that is implementing those policies, which I've done several of those now. We're about a quarter of the way to 3/4 of the way done, a quarter of the way to halfway done with that, and we're starting to gather proofs. So hopefully, all said and done, we get the department up and running with the new policies. We should be hopefully get accredited sometime next year. Some of the big things we've done and made a real progress on, and some of the heavy lifting, is the evidence room. The evidence room, if you go down there, is completely transformed. Almost all the equipment out that was pulled out, we've redone it, separated. For instance, one of the standards was separating drugs and guns. We've secured those in new containers. We have a refrigerator in there. We had to go through. There were several old systems, actually 3 different independent systems. We've now, thanks to this process, have one system. We can find any piece of evidence. Any officer can look it up and find out if we have it, where it's at, if it's out of the building, if it's in the building, if it's in testing. That alone is amazing. So a lot of small steps we've taken, and has already proved the efficiency of the organization.
Great. When we look at all these different pieces and parts, again, it continues to build upon the high standards that this department has with the training of what we have, and with all the policies and procedures. Again, I think it just goes to the standard of the officers that we have and the ongoing training that we have for the officers. Maybe just speak about the ongoing training that we have.
Absolutely, and it's through your support and the commitment of not only you, but Superintendent Colarillo and our Board of Commissioners that we're able to have, I believe, the finest and best trained officers in law enforcement. And I'll use a very a current example of this coming up, that in our organization, because of your support and forethought and foresight, that we're able to send our sergeants to the Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command. And we currently have Sergeant Anthony Radico, and Sergeant Mark Stanson. They are registered, and they will be starting that in approximately 3 weeks. And that's a phenomenal school, and it's a command level school, but again, it's an example of where we take our professional development and we push it down to our supervisory personnel to make them more efficient, more aware of what's going on, and how to properly supervise and manage their individual platoons. And it's a foundation, and that foundation is there as far as the professional development is concerned. And also the FTO program, we spoke about that. We have an overabundance of schools that we send all our officers to, from their DUI detection, their criminal investigation detection, and some of these schools are lengthy, where there's 2 or 3 weeks. We just recently had Detective Schreiber. He was down at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, where he was going through the latest training on the examination of electric communication devices, such as cell phones, computers, and that nature. So that's a center of excellence really here for Radnor, where many other police departments will get a phone or a computer and they will have to send it out to the county, the state, or even maybe the federal labs. And there's a pecking order. You get in queue in line, and it could be several weeks or months before that comes back. So again, it's about the training, and it just continues to solidify our professional development and how we respond to our residents. That's what it's all about, is the customer service.
So 2 things. We actually sent a second Detective 4 out to Pierre, South Dakota for electronic downloading of computers and phones. I'm in charge of detectives. We have 4 detectives. I would say almost every other investigation we deal with involves either downloading of a phone or looking at a computer in some capacity. And like the deputy said, so many of those investigations if we send out a computer or send out a phone, the investigation stops for weeks at a time. We're actually able to we did it last night with an investigation. We were able to download the phone, start taking a look, and develop evidence almost immediately. So we're just that much more efficient and quick to respond to things that are occurring. And to his point with the FTO program, I think one of the things we have is we have fewer officers, but one of the things we do now that we didn't used to do is ramp them up a lot quicker. We have fewer officers on the street, but I would say we are far more trained than we have ever been. They're able to take on more responsibilities earlier in their careers, where we used to have a really small postage-sized beat where new guys would go out to. Now you're on the street, you may be in one of the busiest sectors right off the bat, and we, through our extensive training program, FTO program, and the schools we send you to, we expect you to hit the ground running and do competent investigations, do competent follow-ups, and provide the type of services that the community expects.
And that's one of the things I think the department prides itself in, is we don't have excess folks. I mean, everybody is doing their part. Everyone is doing, what they need to do. We don't have, people that just look at inventory or just, do those types of things.
Filler jobs.
Absolutely.
Right, auxiliary services. No, you're
Exactly.
absolutely correct. And again, it goes back to your point and our training that we're able to train our patrol officers in various different areas that they can handle this investigation now, where before, when we had the department was larger, a lot of times it was reactive reporting. They take the report and then it would either be routed to the detective bureau or to the traffic and highway unit, depending on what it is. Now, with the additional resources they have available in their training, they can carry out a lot of those investigations, and more efficiently as well, due to technology.
In some of the, we know there's crime, things happen. What kind of tips, I know that we've been out to some public and community meetings and that, what are some of the things we should be, residents should be aware of? And a lot of times, it's the simple things that you just don't think of. I know like myself, it's the same thing, turn your light, lights, things that are, simple. That,
Right, very, very simple. Lock your doors. Lock your car doors. Don't leave valuables in it. Don't leave the keys to the car in it. And lock your residence. It's generally a very safe area, and a little bit of prevention goes a long way. We continue to put the crime alerts out about the theft from vehicles and the theft of the vehicles, and Lieutenant Dietrich will expand upon that with our ongoing investigations. But that just a little bit of prevention, sir, goes a long way. It's rare that we take reports from locked cars of thefts.
I think people forget they live in Radnor. It's bucolic. It's beautiful. But it's in the middle of a major metropolitan area. We actually arrested people who came up from Washington, D.C., and we asked, why did you end up here? And they actually said they Googled richest neighborhoods. Somehow our zip code came up, and they came here to steal cars, and they ended up stealing cars. All the cars they took had the keys in it, and they were unlocked. We never blame the victim, but we just begging people, please lock your car doors, don't leave your keys, and take the opportunity away. And luckily, most of the cars that are stolen, we end up recovering because they have the GPS activated. Something else I'd like to say, if you have a high-end car and you can get the GPS activated on it, you have to do it yourself. We highly recommend that because we have almost a 90% recovery rate. We're getting the cars back, but we would really like to take the opportunity away from these people coming out and doing this to us.
And to your initial point, as far as residential security, the Radnor Township Police Department has our Vacant House Watch, which we promote. It can be accessed through our website. If you go on there and type in the search engine, you can register your house while you're away. The police department, the officers in that sector will check the residents on a daily basis to make sure that there's been no activity, no criminal activity, no break-ins, no property maintenance issues and whatnot. We also recommend that when you go away, if you still get print media, not that a lot of people get the newspapers, but to cancel that, you don't want that piling up in the driveway, or your mail, simply because it's a calling card. Communicate and talk to your neighbors too. A lot of times we don't see that anymore because of the way technology goes, that you don't have a daily conversation with your neighbors, but let them know that you may be out of the area. And lastly on that, we always tell people, please don't broadcast on your social media that you're in the Caribbean islands or you're in Hawaii for the next 2 weeks, because technology works for us and can work against us as well, because some of the bad guys and bad girls out there monitor that too, and they find out that somebody from a street in the township's away for 2 weeks. It kind of sets up a calling card for the house to be potentially stalked for criminal activity.
Good. Now, if anyone at any time has any questions, or they're concerned, or they see something that isn't right,
911 call.
911.
And a lot of people, just to put it out there, they feel that they don't want to call 911. They feel that they're bothering us, and it's only there for major crimes. In Delaware County, it triages every call there is. So we want to be bothered. That's what we're here for. We want to know what's going on when it happens. And people can call 911. You can remain anonymous. You do not have to give your name. If it's something that's germane to the neighborhood and whatnot, and they want to remain anonymous, that is fine. But we'd rather hear about it. All too often we come in, after having the evening off, we come in the next morning and there's 2 or 3 calls in our voicemail system. They're reporting that there was a crime the night before. So we always ask people to please call 911. They can call and then leave a message, but 911 is the way to access everything.
And I know, like this time of year, they'll get the people trying to sell roofing, gutters, home services, utility people coming door to door and saying they're with a service and that. What do you recommend for?
In Radnor Township, you're required to have a permit.
Okay.
And what's unique about that is we will always give a permit, but we actually do a background check on you, fingerprint check, and make sure you're legitimate. We're in no way advocating or recommending those services, but they have to have a permit. And we tell residents, ask for the permit, ask to see their permit. 90% of the time, the people that are out there do not have permits. Call us. If we come down, we will catch them, we will actually cite them and let them know they have to go back and get a permit, which they probably aren't going to get, or they don't belong here. So we encourage people to call on them.
And that's okay for a 911 call?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
for
Appreciate it,
joining
sir.
me.
It's always a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. All right. Well, thank you very much. Back here with the next segment of 30 Minutes with the Manager. And joining me now are our 2 newest health inspectors, so thank you for joining me. If you can just introduce yourselves to the community here.
I'm Kathryn Carlomagno, the Assistant Health Inspector.
I'm Marie Carbonara. I'm also the Assistant Health Inspector.
Welcome. This is, I know, first time on the show here. Maybe you can just explain what your role is, what you do for the township.
We inspect the food establishments, the bathing place establishments, and then any health complaints that come in.
Okay, so just like Kathryn said, there's over 200 food establishments in the township, so we inspect them annually. Some of them need follow-up visits, so they're a few times a year. There's 30 pools that we inspect, to keep the public safe throughout the summer. The public health complaints that Katie talked about, a variety of different things that we follow up on throughout the year.
Well, I know a lot of times it may not be the most popular of the positions, but it's one that's very needed, and it's one that I know the community trusts, and they put a lot of faith in the township and in your roles to make sure things are safe for the public. And I know I've been involved with several of them, and I know that you work very hard. You're very detail oriented in this because of that, because the public has that trust, because they hope that when they go into these establishments that there is a care in providing that food, that they know that they can trust going in here, that there's going to be that care going into that meal that's going to come out, that it's being prepared the best way that it possibly can, and that it's safe. And so when you go through a lot of these, what are some of the things that you're looking for when you go into some place?
I'd say some of the most important is hand washing, hair restraints, glove use, temperatures.
Yeah, we look. There's a long list of things that we look at when we go into these establishments. We're looking at the physical aspect, all the walls, the floors, the ceilings. We're looking at the workers preparing the food. If they're following the standard of safety to keep food prep as safe as possible from the back of the kitchen to the table. We kind of follow up on the people in charge and make sure that they are making sure the food safety team is keeping up with what they need to keep up with to keep the food safe.
Because I know there's a whole big toolkit and that you go through, and the testing and the thermometers and the sanitization and all the stuff that goes into that, and it's quite detailed, and how the checklist that you go through, and how that's all followed up on too is quite involved. And I think from the public's aspect, sometimes they may not realize what all goes into that. So I just want to thank you for what you do, and the care and concern and the time that you put into it for the community, because it's not a pleasant job many times, because I know going along with you it's a challenging job too as well, because again, the people, that's their livelihoods in that, and but also too, you're there to protect the health and safety and welfare of those diners that go into those places and the customers. So I appreciate all that you do. So best of luck as always, and welcome aboard, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.